YouTube channel, throughout the social media networks out there. And we have a lot of show to cover here. We're going to get you all the picks from the games today. We got Boise State, Colorado State. We got the NFL game between the Colts and Titans. And we got our cappers in the green room. Let's take a look at who will be on the show for today. Well, Damian Stosh always signs in bottom of the hour. Of course, we got Rod Zawacki will be joining us, as will Al Ninos. Chris Ruffalo will serve as my co-host. Alex Smart, we're going to talk some interesting topic here. If you've noticed, if you look at the NFL lines, a lot of movement in totals. We'll take a look at that. We have Shane Mickle with some UFC coverage. And, of course, Ron Romanelli will join us a little later as well in the show. Let me go ahead and welcome in my co-host, Chris Ruffalo. Chris, how you doing today? And just to get your thoughts here, I know it's MAC football. It's what we saw the last couple of days. It's going to be here all Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So we got to talk about anything you took from the games yesterday.
Oh man, that the fake spike is alive and well, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I did not see the end of that Toledo Western Michigan game. I learned about it on social media and on Sports Center after the fact. But I left the room when it was 38-28. I went upstairs to put everybody to bed, and I came back downstairs, and I'm like, okay, I'm checking some of my bets, and I see a push. Because I got Toledo at +3. I'm like, wait a second, push, that can't be right. And then I checked, and I'm like, wait a sec, what happened? That was one of the craziest things I think I've ever seen. But you know what? In a 6-game schedule, you pull out all the stops, and I was watching it last night, and I could tell you, the Western Michigan coach, he's one of these new coaches that prides himself on understanding analytics, and we saw Western Michigan, successfully go for 4th down on multiple occasions last night. And I think it's just going to show you that, the analytics can work in today's game. And, there's a human element. There's always going to be a human element. But the numbers are starting to say that, we don't lie. We're here, and we're going to be a part of this, whether you like it or not. And, we're, as far as the whole conference goes, I think it's just safe to say that everybody's going to throw their best at everyone else in that conference. And like I said, the 6-game schedule, you don't have really much time to make an impact. And we have certain teams like your Ball States of the world and your Miami Ohios who are maybe had high hopes or maybe hoping to middle around in the middle of the conference this year that maybe had slow starts. You have your Buffaloes and your Central Michigans and your the team escapes me right now. You're not Bowling Green. Oh, they're not going to do much of anything. But your Buffaloes, who are teams that are hoping to be the class of that conference this year, and they're getting off to the right start. They've gotten off to the right foot, and that's exactly what you have to do in a condensed schedule.
Yeah, no question about that. I thought I was real confident with that Eastern Michigan play. They're always in games. Of course, it didn't go for them at the end. If you had 8 or 9, you're looking pretty good for that whole game, but a really tough loss there, those of you on the Toledo side. All right, this is the drive-thru, guys. We're here Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, breaking down, giving you some picks on the primetime games and more. But let's get the show started. We're going to bring in Alex Smart. You'll find him over at Pig Dogs Premium. So let's welcome into the show Alex Smart. Alex, how you doing today? And, how did the MAC treat you last night?
It was how do I say it? Subpar. I went 1 and 2. My the one selection that I just loved, and I really liked Central Michigan. So and they're a much better team than people give them credit for. And I was pretty impressed because I think I was also pretty impressed by Western Michigan and how they beat Toledo. Toledo's a top tier team, and I know Western Michigan is always there, always contenders, but this year there's something special about Western Michigan. So I think we should keep a close eye on that.
Yeah, Western Michigan, Jim McElwain taking over as Central Michigan. Jim McElwain taking over the Chippewas program. You're starting to see different performance here improving with that team. All right, Alex, we're going to look at some of the story in the NFL here in the betting world are these totals. And boy, we've seen some swings here. Some of it weather related, and some of it, we'll try and dig a little deeper. Of course, we'll start near the top of the card with the Jaguars and Green Bay Packer game. Now, there was some bad weather forecast. It opened 55, but we've seen 50 down to 49.5 in this one.
Yeah, and here we are here, and we're sitting right now. I think what the best line that I can see right now is around 50 and a half, right? Am I correct? Do you see the same thing as I'm looking at? Yep. So that's about the best lines right now. And at that point, I would definitely have to say, I don't care what the weather's going to be like. I still like the over here.
Yeah, I look at it that way too with that Jaguar team. Chris, Jaguars going from the nice climate in Florida to the cold climate in Green Bay. They're a little concerned there with their offense.
A little bit. I know, Jake Luton, if he's going to be suiting up again, which it looks like he's going to be for Jacksonville. He played at Oregon State. He's used to these colder climates. Not necessarily from playing those Pac-12 games down in California, but it can get cold in Corvallis, and he's used to it. But the problem is, I think the rest of the team, from playing half their season in Jacksonville, not so much. And we've seen when it gets cold in Green Bay, it gets really cold, and it makes that ball hard to grip, hard to hold on to, hard to catch. And then when you're getting hit in the cold as well, Tony, we talked about it before the show as well. Those hits tend to hurt just a little bit more. And Mitch and I always talk about, like teams that hit hard, and then it sort of makes you not want to play football next time you have to go out onto the field. I don't know about Jacksonville in this cold climate. It's hard for me to envision them doing a whole lot to keep up with the Packers offensively in this one.
Yeah, it looks that way. All right, Alex, we got Giants and Eagles here. We've seen a total move here from 41 to 44.5.
Yeah, the Giants and Eagles. That's one of those. That's a game when I look at this right now, I'm just in the middle. The numbers really haven't changed that much, and we saw the Eagles are extremely inconsistent. The Giants can have big games, but where are we? I think the number's right on. I think it opened at 44.5, and I think 44.5 is where it is now, and I think it should stay there. And right. I just don't have an opinion on that one. Yeah.
All right, this Buccaneers-Panthers game opened 47. We've seen it move up to 50.5. I think people saw that defense get shredded last week by New Orleans.
Yeah, looking at that game, I'm just going by my numbers right now, what I can see, and how I've handicapped everything. And that's you're going to have to give me more of an opinion than what I can give you on that game at this point. Really, tell you the truth, because the money's pretty well split down the middle. You can see where the sharp money is. You can see where people are going with this game. Right now, it's at 48.5, and 48.5. That's quite a downgrade from what the opener was. But money continues to sort of flow in here on a 50-50 sort of trajectory. So.
Texans-Browns, this was the big line move, open 55.5. Now the total sits about 49, and 48.5 is now popping up here. Of course, weather a factor there in Cleveland, but these are Houston's defense is really, really not performing.
Well, that's funny. I know somebody personally that laid big money on the over here, and he probably jacks money about 3 or 4 times a year on totals, big money, and he actually went with the over here, and then here we are. Now, I know this is a pretty big bet, and here we are at 48.5 off that opener. So,
all right, one to look at here is Buffalo, Arizona. This has been a big one here from 49 to 56.5 in some places. We know Arizona is trending to the under, but it's because a lot of their totals have been sky high, and they're just missing. They're just missing the over, so that's why they're 6-2 to the under. But man, what a move here! Almost 7.5 points on this total.
Well,
I don't think it's your attention.
The over, yeah, absolutely. It got my attention, and that's a huge line move, and like early money went on the over, and that's where we are. And a lot of money went on the over, and and the books respected the betting action, and here we are.
Yeah, interesting to see where this one moves on Sunday. They're going to be taking it under. You have to think when you have that kind of line move. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to start to move the other way. I know money's going to come, but right now I'm looking at it as a viable under wager. Absolutely.
No question about that and on the value standpoint. All right, another one to look at here is this the 49ers and Saints opened 53.5. We're seeing 49. Some places went down already to 48.5. One of the sharper books. So there's a 5-point move there. Is that based on what we saw with the Saints defense holding the Bucs at just 3 points? And of course the 49ers dealing with offensive woes at the quarterback position and the tight end position.
Yeah, I thought that's the game we were talking about earlier. I got lost again. Sorry about that. But yeah, now this is the game that's at 48.5, and we've moved like close to 5 points, obviously, off that initial line. But what I was trying to say before, and it applies to this game, is there looks like a 50-50, a 50-50, we'll say sharp and public ratio here, and it makes me wonder where and who laid the key dollars to make this number drop like that, because it doesn't make a lot of sense right now at this point to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems like a big one. I'll ask Chris your opinion on this one, this 49ers Saints total that's moved up considerably, about 5 points now.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if this is maybe a product of the litany of injuries that the 49ers have incurred over the last couple of weeks, and maybe just a lack of production from that offense, because you always have to figure that New Orleans is going to get theirs. Just for lack of a better term, they got 28 against the Buccaneers, and they had scored at least 26 in the previous 5 games before that. So sitting at 49, you'd have to think that maybe the 49ers, even if they only hit 26, that the Niners would put in 20. But, without your George Kittle, without Raheem Mostert and Jimmy Garoppolo, and, potentially Kendrick Bourne and Brandon Ayuk out of that lineup as well, I'm not hinging, a ton of offense to come in from CJ Beathard or Nick Mullins, as well as maybe Deebo Samuel and Jerick McKinnon. Those aren't my first thoughts when I think of, a high-scoring offense. So I think that, combined with the fact that, I think New Orleans is an underrated defense for what they've been compared to years past. I think that partially is a reason why we've seen this total drop a few points.
All right,
and just the last thing, my line on that right off the bat was at 48. I would have laid it out at 48.5 to the public. So, that's quite a big drop. I'm still trying to figure it out, like I said.
All right, last one we'll cover here is the Sunday night game. The Ravens and Patriots opened 40.5, really low total now, up to 44, 43.5 in some places. I mean, people saw the Jets move the ball on the Patriots. I'm thinking maybe that's what they're worried about, is this Patriots D.
Yeah, right now, we're off that key number, and being off that key number, and I think it's been dragged down off the board at quite a few books at this point. So, I'm wondering what's going on here. Have we had an update that I haven't been aware of in the last 15 minutes?
I've not seen one. No, I checked the weather. The bad weather's passing through on Sundays. Actually, doesn't hit Foxborough. So,
yeah.
Stephon Gilmore still.
But off that key number, anything off that key number of 43 is dangerous.
Yeah, there's no question about that. All right, Alex, based on the numbers here, obviously the best value has to look that big swing we talked about on the show earlier here. We looked at that Buffalo Arizona game, right, from 49 to 56.5.
Yeah. And I mean, it got pounded. I mean, it just got absolutely pounded with some huge money. And I'm sitting here in a 56.5. You got to pull the. You got to just play the long term parameters here, and you got to it's a fairly decent viable wager. That's my free wager. That'll be my free one for the day.
All right, there you go.
Under 56.5. Yeah.
Under 56.5 here with Buffalo and Arizona. All right, Alex, about 1/4 the hour. Why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Well, we've got that one college football game, Boise State, Colorado State, and we have NFL tonight. Should be a doozy with Indianapolis and Tennessee, and lots of action for this weekend.
That's right, guys. So check out Alex Smart over at Pig Dogs Premium. I want to pick up one of those long-term passes that you see is on the plus side this year. We got a 30-day all-sports pass. Get all of Alex's plays for 30 days. It'd be NFL as well as college football. And of course, college basketball's in play less than 2 weeks away until they tip off on the college hardwood. So get on board right now with Alex Smart. He'll get you in the winner's circle. All right, Alex, as always, great having you on the show. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk with you next week.
Take care, guys. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Alex Smart here on the drive-through. All right, Chris, anything you want to add to that conversation here? With a little rapid fire there on the totals. We're getting to that part of the year now where we're in mid-November. So you're going to start seeing, of course, some of these. A lot of these computer guys. They check the weather patterns, and these totals. We see the totals start to go down a little bit as we get deeper into the fall, into the winter. What's your take here in this week 10?
I just actually Al Ninos was messaging me off to the side, and I think he's saying the reason that Baltimore game might have been pulled down is because it looks like Marlon Humphreys has COVID.
Oh.
So that could be a reason that total got pulled down. Yeah, it's just like I said, stuff that Tony, you and I talked off air. I know obviously I can't. Nobody's really watching our behind the scenes, but the one line that I don't really get why there was such a giant move. I mean, I know it's we kind of touched on it, but it was that Arizona line jumping 7.5 points, shifting to 56.5. I mean, that's just a massive jump, and I think looking at the under, it could be a viable play that we start to see Arizona shift back towards the lower scoring games. And I mean, my only concern is that they were playing high scoring offense in their last couple of games against your Miamis and your Seattles of the world, and a potential look ahead spot with Seattle on deck in a key divisional game coming up. But I think the next couple games could be battles for the Cardinals. So this could be one where it sort of starts and we see them get back to those lower scoring games.
With those running style quarterbacks, when you look at the AFC versus NFCs, I always lean over, and one of the great angles back when the Rams had that greatest indoor team ever was looking at the Rams when they played a team from the AFC. The over trend was strong because the teams see about once every 4 years, so they're not familiar. Buffalo's not. Neither defense is seeing these starting quarterbacks, so the quarterbacks are so young. But still, I don't think that explains a 7.5 point line move by any means. And of course, that is pretty strong. All right, here on the drive-through, Sky, still a lot more picks coming up, and let's go ahead and welcome to the show Shane Mickle. You'll find him over at Pig Dog Scream. By the way, Shane is just tearing it up in MMA this year. Shane, how you looking? How you doing today?
Good. How about you guys?
Oh, can't complain. I know. What's your thoughts? Any thoughts you have? Look, as we're on our conversation here with these totals, these big swings in the NFL. Of course, you're up in the northern part of the country there in Minnesota. You see definitely the difference in weather, but you guys play indoors. But of course, they don't play indoors in some of these cities where we've seen these line moves.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and it's interesting. We were talking about it earlier in the back of the room, but some of these games where the weather is actually concerned is some of the games where they've actually been going over. So that's one thing to keep in mind, just because numbers moving down, because there's rain or snow. Don't be so quick just automatically assume that the under is still the good play.
That's right. And of course, the weather patterns can change. When all that matters is that little 3-hour time window when they play the game. So keep an eye on that. All right, Shane, you're going to be taking a look here at this UFC card for this weekend, UFC Las Vegas 14. And we'll start with the show pick. Then you can really talk a little bit more about the card. But you're going to be looking here at the main event between Dos Anjos and Felder.
Yeah, interesting fight. Paul Felder was supposed to be announcing this fight for ESPN. 5 days ago, he got the call. He accepted the call, so he's fighting on 5 days when he steps in the arm. But I still think he's the play here. He's a guy who likes to pressure. I'm a little bit concerned about that with his fatigue, but Rafael Dos Anjos, former champ, has not looked so good. He's lost each of his last 2 fights. And I think Paul Felder's pressures me too much. I'm going to be playing him at plus money. I've also found him to finish finish at plus 500. And I'm going to also be throwing a few dollars on that.
All right, Shane Mickle is going to take Felder at plus 165 versus Rafael Dos Anjos. Let's go ahead and bring Chris into the discussion. Chris, I've looked over your numbers; are fantastic as well over in MMA for this season. Your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah, I mean, it's like Shane said, Paul Felder was supposed to be on the mic for this contest, so this is, a bit of a. I don't think short notice can describe this well enough, but. The only thing is that, and first off, kudos to Paul Felder for saving this card, because Michael Chandler had the chance to step in and he said no. And I mean, let's be real, for good reason. It's not often that you see a fighter step in on short notice like this and against a top caliber fighter like Dos Anjos and come out on top. I think the most notable, at least recent time that happened was when Nate Diaz stepped in against Conor McGregor a few years ago and got McGregor to tap. But, as far as this one goes, Paul Felder he's normally at a walking weight around 200. So I think my concern for this one is the massive weight cut. If it's not a catch weight fight, if he's actually gonna have to drop down to 155 for this fight, that's a massive weight cut, and I think energy could be an issue here. But I think there is value to be had with Felder. Like Shane said, he puts pressure on his opponents. He hits hard. He's a power striker. The only thing you got to worry about with RDA is that he's got the Muay Thai to counter that. But again, I definitely think that there is value with Felder because you have Dos Anjos preparing in a camp to fight someone else. And then when that fight falls through, well, if you get someone with a different style like you're going to get here with Paul Felder, it kind of just forces Dos Anjos to sort of rely on experience and what he's learned in the course of his training in past years. But like I said, I think there's definite value here with Paul Felder.
All right, that's Chris Ruffalo and Shane Mickle taking a look here at UFC Vegas, Las Vegas 14. Shane, we see 4 other cards here on the main. Any other fights stand out for you?
Yeah. Before we move to that, though, one just quick note about the Felder fight. I think if mostly this is just a value play. I think if Felder would have been fighting on 6 weeks, 8 weeks notices, is probably about to pick him. Maybe Dos Anjos just slightly favored, so that's really why. Obviously you got to take into account the short time period. But there's also been some talk. Felder's been talking about retiring after this fight, which is even more odd, figuring that he found out about this fight 5 days ago. But that's just something to take a look at. Another fight I'm really looking at on this card, though, is Abdullah Razak Al-Hassan versus Chaos Williams. These are 2 fighters who are going to stand in the middle of the ring, and they're going to try to throw bombs at each other. I like this fight to finish in the first round as one play, and then also a little bit on the underdog of Chaos Williams.
All right, that's Shane Mickle here looking at Hassan and Chaos Williams. Chris, any other fights on this Vegas 14 card? Let me get it. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Man, I was going to say I'm used to talking to myself at home, but I didn't think I'd actually have to do it here. I did take a look at the Chaos Williams fight, and maybe I'll have to bet a beer with Shane on this one because I had Al Hassan to win this one via knockout, just because I think these are going to be 2 guys that are going to throw at each other. They're going to stand in the middle of the ring. Neither guy is going to really take a step back. These are going to be 2 guys who are literally, like Shane said, throw bombs like nobody's business. This is going to be a quick fight because someone is going to get tagged, and I'm hoping that it's not Al Hassan. But again, that's another story for another day. The other fight I was looking at Julian Marquez by knockout against Saparbek Safarov. I just think Marquez is the far better striker, and Safarov is a good value play, but not when you're facing a guy like Marquez who has cinder blocks for hands. And I think he eventually gets Marquez to fade. Sorry, Marquez gets Safarov to fade and puts him down on the mat, puts him to sleep. So I'll take Marquez by knockout as well.
All right, that's Chris Ruffalo and Shane Mickle taking a look here at the UFC 14 in Vegas. All right, Shane, as we're reaching the bottom of the hour, why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Yeah, tonight I got that 3-pack, 2 or 3 plays on a mixture of college football and NFL. And then I've still got that special running on the UFC, 1 year of UFC for $129. You're not going to get cheaper than that. I will be pulling that by the time this event starts, so pop on that package now if you want all my UFC picks 365.
That's right, guys. Pick up Shane Mickle's long-term passes over at Pig Dogs Premium. You get all his plays from MMA as well as college football, where he's performing well. You see him top of leaderboards in college football. Of course, NFL, college basketball starts in a couple of weeks. So get on board right now with Shane Mickle. He'll get you into the cashier line, cashing your tickets. All right, Shane, as always, great to have you on the show. Keep up that great work in MMA, and we'll talk with you next week.
All right, sounds good. Have a good weekend, guys.
All right, everybody. Shane Mickle here on the drive through as we continue here. We're joined by Chris Ruffalo, and we're going to continue our show. And we're going to talk some Thursday night football with our buddy Rod Zawacki. You'll find him over at Pig Dogs Premium, as well on the morning show with a new start time, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Mitch and company gets the show, the morning started here for us here on the Pig Dogs and Sports Chat Place YouTube channel. We're going to go ahead and key in Rod Zawacki in a second. Here we go. I think we got him set here. So how you doing? How you doing today, Rod?
How's it going?
Oh,
Have a good evening.
good evening. I know before the show you had a little a Masters tidbit you wanted to share with the audience.
Yeah, a little tidbit for the Masters for anybody. There's a little prop bet. That's 101-0 in the Masters. There has never been a player in the Masters to in the 60s in all 4 rounds of the Masters. Never happened. Going all the way back before 1934. No one has ever in Masters history shot all 4 rounds in the 60s. It was a minus 180 prop bet that wasn't available for me in Canada. I couldn't find it.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, if you can find it out there, guys, there's a little tidbit there from Rod Zawacki, a little bonus pick for you for those of you that are following the Masters. All right. We're going to talk some Thursday Night Football, a divisional rivalry game here, Rod, between the Colts and the Titans. The Colts are now favored here. This one's been bouncing around throughout the week. The Colts about a 1 to 1.5 point favorite. Total sits about 48.5. We've seen the Colts have their issues against playoff contending teams. They got beat by the Ravens. And, kind of tough to play the Ravens and then have to come back and travel to face the Tennessee Titans on a short week. But how do you see this one?
For me, I see this one. I looked at Tennessee, and in Tennessee's their last 3 games, they've been playing more of definitely not trying to air it out and playing more of a dink and dunk type thing. Their passing average has dropped. It's actually went down to 6.9 yards a play they've been averaging per pass play, which is down almost a yard and a half from what it was over at 7.8. So that's what they do. They run Henry right in your throat, or they attempt to. And for me, this big thing, this Colts defense ranked 3rd against the rush. Giving up about 83 yards. So the Titans, who are 6th offense, are averaging 147 yards. I think that's going to slow right down. The points-wise, Tennessee is not going to score their average of 29 points like they have been. I think that's going to be down. And then you look at Indy's offense, same thing. They like to run the ball as well. So I see both of these teams slowing the ball down. And then I found a stat and trend that I really like. The Colts are 22-4 to the under after a home loss. So for me in this game, I think we're going to see a nice slow scoring pace game. Grind the clock. So give me the under. 48.5.
Ron Zawacki says go underground here, under 40.5 with the Colts and Titans. All right, Chris, how do you see this one, Colts Titans Thursday night?
Yeah, this was a tough one to call. I mean, because you have two teams that can really put points on the board when they have to. But again, I think this is in the Rod hit right on the head. I mean, Indianapolis, I don't think you're going to see a ton of passing from the Titans here with that Colts pass defense. And I think this is going to be a game where we're going to see a lot of running the ball down the other team's throat. I think you're going to see Derrick Henry, just pound the ball, try to pound Indianapolis into submission up the middle. And, this could be a coming out party for Jonathan Taylor. I mean, I think you're going to see a heavy pass rush from like Jadeveon Clowney. And I think the Titans have a legitimate secondary as well. We're always prone to seeing Phillip Rivers make his fair share of mistakes as well. And, on a short week in a divisional rivalry game in prime time, these Thursday night games have always had a history of being sloppy and lower scoring. And maybe it's a lack of rest, but I like the first half under, like I gave out on the morning show. But I can definitely see the case that you can make for the under 48.5 here.
All right, Rod Zawacki's on the under here, Thursday Night Football, Colts and Titans. All right, Rod, as we pass the bottom of the hour, why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
I still got my totally terrific Thursday package. We got the side and total in the NFL game and a side in the college football game. All 3 together, or even better, You'll get Thursday's plays, you'll get Friday's plays, you'll get all of Saturday's college football plays, and NFL will be in early, and so it's like get 3 days, you really almost get 4 days. You almost get the whole weekend if you grab a 3-day pass today.
That's right, guys. Go ahead and pick up Ron Zawacki's. Why don't you get his 30-day all sports pass? Get all of his plays. That would be NFL, college football, and of course, college basketball will start here in just about a couple of weeks. He also delves into European soccer. So pick it up right now over at Pig Dogs Premium. Get in board with the winner, Rod Zawacki. All right, as you can see, I had a really good Wednesday. All right, Rod, as always, great having you on our show. You have yourself a great night. And we're looking for that birdcage pick for you as we close the show.
You bet. It's definitely going to be up there. I love this play tonight. Going to be a good one.
All right, so check him out, Rod Zawacki. As we close the show, by the way, when we close the show, we will definitely recap all the picks. So if you happen to miss the picks, don't worry about that. We'll be able to recap them for you at the end. Let's take a look here at some of the comments that are coming in from the crowd out there. And we are going to cover the Boise State game, and the mouse says Boise won't cover. So that's from the mouse. And someone else had mentioned. I brought up something here. Let me see. Oh, here we go. I wanted to bring this one. Scott S. came in. I want to know when Dana Lane is coming back. And Dana Lane is working on a set. And once he has his set together, gets his new place going in, and his new studio put together, he will be back on the show. So that's the update there on Dana Lane here as we continue here on the drive through. And we will continue moving. We got some more NFL coverage coming. We got El Ninos ready to join us. El, how are you doing today? Things going well for you with the Maction?
Yeah, it went pretty well. Our pick we gave out in the video came through. The premium did as well. I said stayed away from that third one, but it sure was a good game.
Oh, yeah, that third one was one game that was one that really I didn't feel too good about that. I had a 3-0 day coming, and boom, here come the onside kicks, and I wasn't a happy guy. All right, you're going to be looking at a game that, well, you've been consistent with this one, and it's been coming in. Because when we went over the totals, we found that the Raiders are a team that likes to go over the total. But you'll be looking at this Raider game for this weekend against the Broncos.
Yeah, they sure do. 6-1-1 to the over. Broncos also surprisingly 5-3 to the over themselves. You know, we tend to think of them more as a defensive team, which they started off their season kind of low-scoring games, but this offense, I guess, starting to click a little bit. Defense starting to give up some points as well. Judy's a question mark. This should be a pretty interesting receiver matchup between Ruggs and Judy, who got drafted. Ruggs got drafted 12th by the Raiders. Judy 15th by the Broncos. And a lot of people say, the Raiders should have gone with Judy, and he is having the better season, but I do think Ruggs has a lot of potential, and it's going to be interesting to see what he can do with it. So again, Judy is a question mark here. So if he got a little bit of practice in today, and if he goes, I love this play. It might end up being a premium as well. Actually, whether he goes or not, I do like it that much more though if he does play. But still, a lot of weapons on both teams. Locks looked a little better. Carr's having a good season. Waller's playing great. Yeah, this whole Raiders offense actually has looked pretty good. Their defense, not so much, so that helps us too. And I'm taking this game to go over the total. I do like this play, as I said, whether Judy goes or not. But yeah, it's just, of course, good. Always nice to have a good receiver help us take that total over.
All right, El Nino says Broncos and Raiders over total of 50.5 points. All right, Chris, I know Raiders have gone over, but Denver has shown a little bit of offensive spark here the last couple games.
They have, and I will say this, that right off the bat that I agree with Al's pick of the over 50.5. But I think my reasoning for Denver is because of the defense. Now, that sounds a little bit weird, but, Denver's defense, they've tried to be a little bit more aggressive in the last couple weeks, and, for the lack of a better verbiage, it's come back to bite them in the ass. I mean, you looked at their last 3 weeks, they've combined to allow 107 points, which by standards for the Denver defense compared to years past is almost unacceptable. So, I mean, you look at 107 points, we're looking at, with no math major, 35.6 points per game over those 3 games. So that's a lot. And you consider when this Las Vegas offense has played to the over, like Al said, 6-1-1 this season for the over. Denver's gone up to the over in 3 straight games, but again, I think that's partially because of a crappy defensive effort. I think that we do see this game go into the 50s. I could easily see this one maybe even going into the 60s. So I definitely like the over here as well.
Yeah, I'm with you there on the over. So 3 agree here on the over here with the Broncos and the Raiders. All right, Al, as we passed the bottom of the hour, why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium on a Thursday?
Got my NFL Thursday. Unfortunately, passed on the college game today, although I do have some very strong leans on both the side and total, but I didn't feel I was strongly enough to give them out. Anyways, I have some NFL plays for the weekend as well. As Rod said, good time to pick up one of them passes and get all these plays. Gonna make some plays in college as well for Friday, Saturday. And also got some pretty good European matchups in soccer coming up as well, so might look at those too.
Full card from El Ninos over at Pig Dogs Premium. You can check them out. Pretty strong numbers there on the site. Why not get one of those 30 all sports tabs from El? Get all of his plays for 30 days. Of course, NFL college football is Premier League soccer and college basketball coming up in a couple of weeks. All right, El, as always, great to have you on the show. Have yourself a great weekend, and we kick it off with you on Monday.
Yeah, we'll see you Monday. Have a good one, guys.
All right, it's Al Ninos here on the drive-through. All right, guys, still a lot more picks coming. We'll get that Boise State pick for you. We got the Vatech Miami game as well. And just a reminder, if you would, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Free picks every day throughout our channels here on Pig Dogs Premium and Sports Chat. Don't forget to smash that like button. I know, Chris, you've gone through many a keyboard smashing that like button. What are you on your 50th keyboard already?
54.
54. Wow. Let's see how this one holds up.
Not well.
Not well. Well, you do a good job of patching up the walls behind you. I will give you that.
Are you kidding? If I had to spend $200, $300, however much these freaking things cost every time I smashed a keyboard, oh Lord, I'd be taking cash advances on my paydays from everything from whatever till the cows come home. So yeah, no, I'm not breaking. I say smash the button. If anybody didn't figure this out, as a figure of speech, because these things are expensive.
They are expensive. All right, here, guys, we will continue on the drive-thru. Let's welcome Damien Saj to the program. Damien, how are things going for you today?
Hey, going really good, Tony. Looking forward to tonight's games and obviously the weekend ahead.
Yeah, we got a lot of people talking about this Tennessee and Indy game. How do you kind of look at this one?
It's interesting how the line moved on this. Colts, Titans, 2 rivals here. Obviously, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry seems to really shine in these types of ball games. So, looking forward to a big game from him, I hope, because I have him on my fantasy team. But I think it should be an entertaining game. And I'm sorry, Chris, I didn't catch that.
I was going to say you and me both. I have Derrick Henry going tonight as well, so I'm hoping for a big game too.
Feed him the ball. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, he's definitely a player for the prime time. I know he's broken the hearts of many a bettor with those late scores, those big run plays that when Tennessee lays points and they need help, they give it to him the ball in the closing minutes and they get him the cover. So I know those that have played Tennessee favorite, they've come through for him.
Yeah, it is going to be an interesting matchup because the Colts do defend the run really well. But I like how Tannehill's played. A.J. Brown, big weapon there on the outside, and I just don't know if I can trust Phillip Rivers yet in the big game. He just, I don't know. He's so up and down. I just don't know if I can put my faith in him. So we'll see how it goes. But let's feed Derrick Henry the ball. How about that? I'll take it.
The last time I trusted Phillip Rivers is when LT was in the backfield. That was it. Since he lost LT, he's not, and they've not had a running game. Look at this under 4 yards a carry, 3.7 yards a carry. They have not been able to run the ball for Phillip Rivers when he was with the Chargers, and now with the Colts, ever since LT left the Chargers. So
yeah, he's definitely a guy that if you can get in his face, he's going to make mistakes, and he just always has it seemed at least a couple plays a game where he's throwing it up for grabs, and I can't trust him. He's going to be on the road. Granted, not really a full house on the road, but I kind of like the Titans in this one.
All right, looking at the Titans. All right, we're here with Damon Sasha. You got the show pick coming. It'll be college football as we got Virginia Tech trying to pick themselves up from the ground that lost to Liberty. Liberty, a pretty good mid-major team this year. They're facing Miami and Virginia Tech here. Virginia Tech, the favorite at 2. Total sits here at 67.5.
Yeah, looking into this game here, I like the over in this one. On the season, Miami averaging 34 points per game. They're giving up 25 points per game. De'Aaron King, he's been quite the weapon here for Miami. And he's the big reason why they're able to put up so many of these points. That comeback win against North Carolina State this past weekend, he threw for 430 yards, 5 touchdowns. He ran for another 105 yards. But I think he's going to need to have a big game against Virginia Tech. They're coming in here facing the number 5 ranked rushing offense in all of college football. The Hokies are averaging 277 yards on the ground this season. As you mentioned, last week, Virginia Tech did fall to Liberty 38-35, and they were 17-point favorites at home in that one. Hendon Hooker, Virginia Tech's quarterback, had a nice game, threw for over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he ran for 156 yards himself. An injury concern for the Hokies offense in this one, star running back Khalil Herbert, he did tweak his hamstring. I believe it happened on the first play of the game, actually. Now, he has been practicing this week. It's questionable as to whether or not he's going to give it a go this Saturday. Regardless, I still like this game to go over. The main reason why is you often hear the term defense travels. Well, Miami's doesn't. At home, they only given up 370 yards to their opponents, total yards. On the road, they're giving up over 400 yards per game to their opponents in all 3 road games that they've played. Clemson and Louisville put up over 500 yards of total offense. Virginia Tech themselves, they've been a sieve defensively. They're giving up over 459 total yards per game to their opponents. Last year, Virginia Tech won this game 42-35. I think we're going to see another similar type score, and I like this one to go over the total.
Yeah, I can't argue that one there over the total. And it does tell you something here for a 6-1 team like Miami. Why they're underdogs in here, Chris, is because their defense has not played well away from home.
No, it hasn't. I mean, looking at the numbers, just look at the road games for Miami. They've given up 41, 42, and 34. And granted, 2 of those games were wins against Louisville and NC State. But still, those numbers are not going to do all that well against a Virginia Tech offense that can hang points on the board with the best of them. I mean, you look at what Virginia Tech's done this season. They've scored at least 35 points in all but one of their games, which was that road game against Wake Forest where they only put up 16. But still, that's prolific offense for this season. And, Virginia Tech's also been involved in at least 4 games this season where both teams at least reached 30 points. So I can definitely see the over here. I personally had the over myself. I could see this one easily getting into the 70s, potentially into the 80s. I'm not going to go so far as to say we have a game like Virginia Tech had against UNC where we hit 101, but I can definitely see this one going into the 70s, maybe even just getting closer to 80 as well.
Yeah, looks like we're all agreeing here on this Virginia Tech and Miami to go over a total of 67.5. All right, Damien, as we're approaching the top of the hour, why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
I still have both plays available in the pro game and the college game going on tonight. And obviously a big weekend of football ahead. So, the best thing to do, get yourself a 3-day plan, a 7-day plan to get all my football action. Looking forward to a big weekend here.
All right, guys, so check out Damien Sosh over at Pig Dogs Premium. Why not pick up one of this all sports pass, 7-day, 30-day, all of his plays from NFL and college football and college basketball in 2 weeks. Get it from Damien Sosh. He'll get you the winner's circle. All right, Damien, as always, great having your show. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll talk with you next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
All right, everybody. Damien Sosh here on the drive-through, guys. So got more picks coming. We got some college football on the way. We are going to get a new pick from that Boise State Colorado game. Now we're going to bring in Ron Romanelli. You can find him over at Pig Dogs Premium. And let's get him. Let's cue him up here. Let's see. We got him right here. How you doing today, my man?
I'm doing well. Just had Tropical Storm Eta roll through here in north central Florida, but we're doing good. No damage over here. Ready to keep moving along.
All right, very good, very good. Joined here with Chris Ruffalo. We're gonna go ahead and cue you in on your game here. This FAU versus FIU contest. FAU is a team really that struggles putting points on the board. FIU off to a slow start. How do you see this one?
Well, yeah, I mean, FAU, they allow 11.5 points per game. Great defense under Willie Taggart so far this season. But you look at the other side and you look at the offense, only scoring 16 points per game. So very defensive-minded, defense-focused team in FAU, Florida Atlantic. You look at the flip side, you look at FIU, Florida International, another team that struggles on offense. I think they're 0-4 on the year. They're coming off a loss to Jacksonville State, an FCS team, 19-10. That's a very bad loss for FIU. So just two overall bad offenses. You got a strong offense in FAU. You look at all four. FAU's 3-1 this season. All four of their games have gone under the total, and not just by a little, by a lot. More than 20 points they've gone under the total. This should just be a game between two teams where the first team to 20 wins. It's just going to be a battle. It's going to be a boring one, just like FAU's games have been this season. And another thing to look at is both teams only average less than 125 passing yards per game. They're going to run the ball a lot here, and that's going to chew a lot of clock. It's going to be a quick game. We'll get through it together. And I know it's not fun taking the under with such a small total, but it's a smart play here. So take the under 41.
Yeah, that game definitely looks to be low scoring. Chris, I'm going to ask you this: how can a team that averages 16 points a game be favored by 9.5?
Well, even better question: how can I take them? Because I did. Now that we're talking about it, but you know what? Looking at this game, I think Ron's absolutely right with this game. And I mean, you look at FAU, 4-0 to the under this season, but 4-0 to the under substantially. Three of these games have come under the total by at least 22 points, and the other one was 19.5. So let's round that up to 20 and make it just 4. And you look, all 4 of their games this season have seen 38 points or less. So that's one red flag as it is. Now, you look at the game against Western Kentucky, where essentially nobody's a winner because you still have to watch that game. And the total was set at 38. Not only did we come in under that total, we came under that total by more than half. There were only 16 points in that game. So that's telling me exactly what Ron said. This is going to be a defense-first, run-the-ball kind of game where basically it's probably going to be the first 17 wins this game. I could easily see it being 17-6 for FAU. But again, I think this is another game that really has no winner because, there's FAU and FIU. They're still going to have to waste 3 hours out of their lives by playing this game, and we're going to have to waste 3 hours by watching it. So, again, like Ron said, if you feel the need to bet this game, I think there are hotlines out there. But I think you can take the under here with relative confidence.
Yeah, relative confidence. And what's your over-under on turnovers here? Because sometimes those turnover scores can screw you on these kind of totals. But you think you can survive maybe one turnover or special teams touchdown and still get this one under?
Yeah, I mean, it could be the only offense is due to defense and turnovers and special teams. So, this is the type of game where you put the bet in, you turn the TV off, and you check your phone, you see a 10-3 final score, you congratulate yourself. But you don't want to watch this one, trust me.
Yeah, it's a tough watch. Fortunately, there's Iowa, Minnesota, and East Carolina, and Cincinnati. That'll be going on as well. All right, Ron, as we approach the top of the hour, I know you're doing well. I see it on the leaderboards at Pig Dogs Premium. What you got going on?
Yeah, it's never a better time to grab one of those 3 days or 7-day bread and butter passes that I have on the website. We're on the 7-day leaderboard, the monthly leaderboard, the year leaderboard, NFL, college football, you name it. We're doing great things here on Pick Dogs Premium. And if you take the 3-day, you get my NFL, my college football. Last week, 4-0 in the NFL. Back-to-back winning college football Saturdays. Just a great time, so check me out on Pick Dogs Premium.
That's right, guys. Check out Ron Romanelli over at Pig Dogs Premium. Why not pick up one of those long-term passes, 7-day, 30-day pass right now, and get on board with Ron. He's put up some numbers up, really good numbers up this season. NFL, college football, and in 2 weeks, it'll be college basketball time. And I want to ask Ron before we let him go. Ron, are you getting ready for college basketball? It's coming upon us here, but a little more than less than 2 weeks.
I am super excited. It's my favorite sport to watch, and I'm excited to go to the games myself for the Gators. And I love. I have my college basketball season pass on the website. $450, you get my whole season, and we're expecting big things in college basketball this year.
That's right. Get it right there from Ron Romanelli over at Pig Dogs Premium. All right, Ron, as always, great having you show. Have a great night. We'll talk to you with you next week.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Ron Romanelli here on the drive-through. With this college basketball, you're going to get 40 to 50 games. So even half of them are canceled because of COVID. You still got 25 to bet on, Chris.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's always going to be a good night when we at least have some form of basketball. But Tony, I got to ask you, I'm sitting here. When am I going to get to go? I haven't gone yet.
You haven't gone yet? Yes, we missed you. I did it again. Right.
Look, we got know.
Yeah, you got to let me know. Yep. I just passed you because I had you for the wrong game. I crossed it out. I corrected it. All right, let's get Chris Ruffalo's pick here, and thank you for reminding me. I almost pulled that mistake twice in 1 week. Oh my goodness! All right, let's go. You're going to be looking here at
we're throwing a perfect game up until the 9th, and then you put in you put in Sam Dyson, and then you gave up a bases loaded home run, and it was a mess.
It was a total mess here. And speaking of a total mess here, we got Minnesota hosting Iowa. With the Iowa here, the short favorite 3.5. Total sits here at 58.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to make it short and sweet because I know we're getting close to that top of the hour. But I think this is just going to be your prototypical Big Ten game. You have Minnesota, who, by all intents and purposes, has not lived up to their hype coming over from last season. But I still think there's enough talent on this roster. Iowa, a hard-hitting team under Kirk Ferentz. What this game boils down to me is that we're going to see a ton of running the football with Ibrahim for Minnesota, Mekhi Sargent and Tyler Goodson for Iowa. There's going to be a ton of running in the 20s, but there's also going to be a ton of running into the middle. And there's going to be a hard-hitting, physical nature between the 20s in this game. I can easily see this one being the first one to 20 or even 24 wins. I don't see either team getting into the 30s in this one, so take the under 58 in this one.
All right, guys, take Iowa, Minnesota to go under total of 58. That's his college football action here for Friday. So if you don't want to watch it, FIU, we got another under for you to root for. It'll be Iowa and Minnesota. Watch this one. This one based on the line will be the more competitive. I know East Carolina says it could be over by halftime. So this is the game you want to watch. No question about that. All right, speaking of watch, we're going to be watching Pig Dogs Premium, Chris, because I know you got some things going on over there at the site.
Absolutely. I got my Thursday third down special. And I got the side and total from tonight's NFL game, as well as my top play from the college football game between Boise State and Colorado State. Got up there for $29.95. Or, guys, you know what? Hop on one of those 3-day, 7-day, 30-day passes. They're going to be your best value. My best suggestion, if you start hopping on it tomorrow, because you're going to get Friday football in there. You're going to get Saturday college football, all the picks in there. And I am known, maybe good or bad, for having some of the biggest packages on the website in terms of college football. I put out some like the most picks out of the majority of the handicappers. And then Sunday you're going to have NFL, and Monday NFL. That's going to be your best value for the week. We also got midweek action. We've been killing the MAC. We've been killing college football lately. Don't miss out on these.
That's right. Don't miss out on it from Chris Ruffalo over at Pig Dogs Premium. And you may even delve into MMA because he's having a good year this year there as well. So want to pick up one of those long-term passes. You'll get a lot of play, a lot of volume of picks up there. It'll get you on the winning side. Chris Ruffalo over at Pig Dogs Premium. All right, we'll continue on with the show. Remember, we are going to recap all the picks, but before we do, let's get to my play here. Boise State and Colorado State. And I'm going to go under a total of 62 here. There's a lot of question marks about the Boise State quarterback. Could be Bachmar, could be Sears, it could be their fourth stringer because the third stringer is injured. We'll see who it is. But one thing to note here, Boise State can run the football, and they could be leaning to their offensive line to methodically move the ball downfield on this Rams defense. Colorado State, they're one-dimensional. They're only running for 3 yards a carry. And again, they face Wyoming and Fresno State's defense. Rams converting only 28% on third down and struggling in red zone. I'm going to take this one under total of 62 points. Chris, how do you see this game, Colorado State and Boise?
Well, funny enough, I was actually going back and forth with our fellow handicapper, Ann Shore, a couple hours before the show because neither one of us could figure out who Boise State was starting. It looks like it's going to be Bachmeier tonight from what I was seeing from some of the beat writers, but I can't disagree with you, Tony. This was the case that I think you can make, is that Boise State's going to run the football, and if we see Boise State start Hank Bachmeier, these could be some short drives for Boise State, and we can put a ton of points on the board. And I think they're going to take the air out of Colorado State's balloon very early on. I just think that this total could be way too high for this one. The under's 25-11. Boise State's last 36 home games, and the under's cashed in 5 of Colorado State's last 6 overall. So I understand the case that you can make for the 61.5 and the under.
All right, that's the play here. Boise State, Colorado State, under a total of 61.5. All right, guys, the drive-through Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. As we'll be back tomorrow with a lot of football, Friday night football, and more from our cappers here on Pig Dogs. Don't forget, we do get all started at 10 a.m. Eastern time with the morning show. It's Mitch, Chris, Rod Zawacki, Annie, and Brian Bittler on that show. So be sure to check it out. All right, before we get to the recaps, let's go ahead and look at some of the comments that came in. Of course, Big Dogs Junkie, a big fan of Ron Romanelli, and he's always performing well on the show. Another one from Joseph Peru, they like him. Nick Edick likes FIU on the money line. That's not a bad play for going up against an offense that's averaging 16 points a game. Jack Nichols wants to know where Mitch is. Well, Mitch appeared on the show on Wednesday. If you want to check out his Wednesday appearance, check the archives. And you do want to check the archives because Mitch gave out a money line parlay that pays a pretty good one. I mean, I think it was like plus 1,900 when you put it together on the parlay calculator. So
plus 1960. Yeah, I remember that vividly because I did it myself, and that's what it came out to.
Yeah, go check the archives. Yesterday's show, Mitch made the appearance, and he had to come in. He wanted to give out that play, and we put him on there. We made it happen. And matter of fact, check it out over there on the archives. All right, guys. Now it's time to recap the plays for today. Let's bring up the show picks. El Ninos will join us here on this segment. All right, Shane, got to start here with the show picks. Actually, it was Alex Smart, because when we had our discussion about the totals, he liked the under 56.5 between the Bills and the Arizona Cardinals. So that's on record there with Alex Smart. Then we went with Shane Mickle. We're going UFC Vegas 14. Paul Felder plus 165 against Rafael dos Anjos. Chris Ruffalo, Iowa, Minnesota under the total of 58. Rod Zawacki, Colts, Titans under 48.5. Damian Sosh, Virginia Tech, Miami over 67. Ron was on FIU under 41. Yours truly on the Boise State, Colorado State under the total of 61.5 points. All right, Chris, I think I can ask you the question today. Other than your pick, which one do you like the best?
You can, and I'm torn between two, so you know what? I'll birdcage mine, and I'll take Iowa, Minnesota, and I'll parlay that up with Damien's pick of Virginia Tech, Miami over 67, and Al's pick of the Raiders and Denver Broncos over.
Yep. And I'm again torn between Damien's side as well as Al's pick, which I didn't put up there. Al had over the total in that Raiders Broncos game, so that one is actually good point. Good pointing that one out. So yes, over the total in Raiders Broncos. All right, Al Ninos, we took your pick out, so now you can pick from the rest of them. Which one do you like the best?
I like Damien's as well. I was torn between Chris's and Damien's, but I'll go with Damien's over 67.
All right, so check it out, guys. All right, book it. These guys are gonna
At least you got the honorable mention, man.
That's right.
Yeah, sure.
All right, guys.
Butter me up to my co-host.
Don't forget.
Take your shots because you're not here tomorrow. That's it. I got you. Go ahead and go into the weekend.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get Chris to get lathered up when he goes up against Gorin with that English Premier Soccer. So we'll have a good segment by that tomorrow. So be sure to tune in.
Yeah.
That's right. We're gonna have to go international. Yeah. So we're gonna have to fish tomorrow. So we'll definitely look for some plays from the international card. All right. As always, guys. Thanks for joining us tomorrow. Back at it again at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. The morning show kicks off at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And El, before you go, anything you'll be looking for college football, NFL?
Yeah, one last thing I forgot to mention. AC/DC, sorry, I don't know how visible that is. Not set up to a new album out tomorrow. So check that out when you're done checking out the packages on Pig Dogs. But yeah, no plays yet. But there is one football game I really like, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a play very soon. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have at least one play tomorrow, and as I said, some NFL plays ready for Sunday, and yeah, definitely some good Saturday games as well in college.
Yeah, Chris, I know from your past, you probably didn't know about it. You probably listened to a lot of ACDC back from your past.
Oh, absolutely. I could tell you right now, my fiance is she's she just had her 30th birthday, but I swear on the inside she's a 50-year-old metalhead because all she does she listens to AC/DC, and then she turned me on to that. We've seen Poison twice in concert, Guns N' Roses twice in concert. God, she's seen Kiss.
Wow,
Oh man,
Kiss.
I'm
impressed.
I'm telling you, she's got all her ticket stubs saved, and one of these days I'm going to go through and I'll bring them onto the show, and I'll figure out everywhere that she's gone to. But yeah, no, she's AC/DC. She loves Guns N' Roses, Poison, Motley Crue. Oh man,
Can't forget the Iron Maiden, the best T-shirts anywhere.
fair. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Black Sabbath. What else? Oh, she's in love with Aerosmith. She loves Steven Tyler. That's why when Joe D'Amico said Steven Tyler and Aerosmith the other day when we were talking, I was like, "Oh, thank God I'm wearing earphones," because if my fiance heard Steven Tyler and Aerosmith, she'd start like swooning and she'd be like, "Oh my God!" I'd be like, "Babe, he's 70-something years old. I don't even know if he actually is." But come on. Man, but you know what? No, I can appreciate it. I can appreciate some AC/DC, so I'll be looking out for that tomorrow.
That's right. All those ladies that work out on the poles out there, you know AC/DC very well, my friend. And we'll leave it.
I didn't even think of that.
Oh yeah, that's where I was headed. Now you're sweating.
Yeah, I actually saw them live.
I gotta go into full-on
Black
brother
Eyes
pose.
tour.
All right, guys, that'll do it for the show. Let's bring on all the pig dogs. We'll send a wave goodbye with that, and we'll see you guys next week. Oh, actually, we'll see you tomorrow. What am I talking about?